Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you yet again another Game of Thrones episode review right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly, as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Game of Thrones episode review. So, this is Season 2, Episode 3, entitled, What is Dead May Never Die. And we have a lot of stuff to cover in this review, so let's get on with it. Now, for this week's review, I'm going to go ahead and tackle this based off of setting. And I know a lot of you are going to say, but Larry, the books are based off of, from the perspectives of each character. So that's how your review should be. But there was too much stuff that happened in this episode. I can't keep track of everyone. Setting helps me keep track. So that's how I'm gonna tackle this review. Anywho, so let's start things off with what happened this week north of the Wall. In last week's episode, it ended with Jon pretty much getting caught by Craster after Jon followed him into the woods with the newborn baby boy. And so this week's episode opens up with Craster pretty much telling Mormont, that, hey, you guys, you broke the rules. It's time to go. You guys got to get out, And so, of course, Mormont asked Jon about it. And when Jon told him what happened, Jon found out that Mormont knew, but also Mormont had, or at least tried to explain to Jon, it's like, hey, things work differently up here. And we can't afford to lose someone like Craster. We need him north of the Wall. So yeah, he does his dirt, but hey, it's not our concern. It's not our problem. You getting us kicked out of his house is our problem. So we had that. I'm not going to mention the thing with Sam because really it wasn't that important. Anywho, so with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and segue over to Winterfell, where Bran is becoming more aware of what's going on with his dreams. Like, Bran knows now that, okay, something's going on. My dreams are, actually coming true. And this is the first time I think that they have actually mentioned magic. Which I will say that I actually want to see more of this because, I was surprised when the series first started. Keep in mind, you all remember, when I first got into the series, I didn't know anything about any of the source material. I didn't even know it was a book, a series of novels. And the thing was, I was surprised that, it was a medieval fantasy story, but there was no mention of magic. And other than what we saw with what the hell was she in last season? I'm talking about what they called her, a witch. Other than the witch from last season, and then of course the one that is with Stannis now. This is the first time we've actually heard people talk about magic. Because even with the witch that's with Stannis, I'm not sure if she's a witch or a priestess. I don't know. But this is the first time where they actually talked about magic. And so I want to see more of that. I enjoyed that scene. I enjoyed that conversation. I want to know more about the magic that used to be in Westeros. As the Maester mentioned, he said, that was a long time ago. Those people are long gone. Those ways have died out. Well, I want to know more about that. Now, since we're talking about Starks, I want to go ahead and I want to segue over to the Stormlands. This week's episode, Catelyn went and she met with Renly, who apparently... Okay, I knew that Renly getting, those 100,000 men, I knew there had to be some strings attached. I knew he couldn't just pull that off. Just showing up, hey, I'm your son's friend, give me your men. Apparently, Renly married Loris's sister, whose name is Margaret. And first and foremost, I want to go ahead. I want to make this comment. I like Margaret. I don't know what it is, and no, it's not just because the actress is very good looking. That's not it. There's something about her that I don't know is fucking magnetic. I especially enjoyed the scene where she offered herself to Renly, and when he couldn't get it up, you know, she was like, "Oh, do you want me to get my brother?" You know, just I don't know. It's something about, number one, she knows about Renly and her brother. Number two, she's cool with it. But number three, she told Bran, she's like, "Look, how you know, whatever you want to do with my brother is cool, as long as you give me a son. As long as, you know, when this war is over, you put me on the throne and you bear an heir. That's all I care about." And I don't know, something about that honesty, that somewhat blunt honesty, to be honest with you, especially from a lady, I like. And speaking of ladies, since we're talking about ladies, what was her name? It was either Brienne. It was Brienne. Yes, I am so happy that we're starting to see some kick-ass females in armor. Yes. I'm sorry, but I got tired of just seeing, you know, the ladies of the court. Finally, we have a female warrior, and she looks kick-ass, and she's very tall. That's a tall glass of water right there. But yes, I'm excited about this character. I'm looking forward to seeing what this character is capable of. My only thing is, I hope they do not develop her as somewhat of the blind loyalty, sort of, I don't want to say mindless zombie, but you know, the banner waving blind loyal fangirl, if you will, that, you know, she'll do anything for Renly. I really hope they don't do that with her. I hope she has a half decent head on her shoulders, and for fuck's sake, please do not write it to where she has a secret crush on Renly. Please don't do that shit. I'm sorry, but those fucking literary cliches, it makes me want to pull my hair out. I can't stand that shit. God, I hate it. Whew. But anywho, so yeah, Brienne, cool fucking character. Looking forward to that. I like her. I like Marjorie. Did I say Margaret earlier, or did I say Marjorie? I think I said Marjorie. I hope I said Marjorie. It's a lot of motherfuckers. It's hard to keep track. Anywho, funny enough though, we didn't get much of a conversation between Catelyn and Renly. They spoke for what, all of 30 seconds, and they didn't get down to business. So hopefully we get around to that. And also to end the note with the Stormlands, the scene, of course I knew Loras wouldn't like what's going on. And I made this comment when I was guest starring on a podcast of Ice and Fire. Shout out to the crew of a podcast of Ice and Fire, and by all means check them out. But I made this comment when I found out that Marjorie was Loras' sister. I said it then, that I know Renly and Loras are going to come to blows because Loras' sister is in the middle. I can see that happening. I already started seeing it happen in this episode. I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time until it does. But let's just say I'm pretty sure the Night of the Flowers is about to get real pissy really damn quick. Especially if that's his little sister. I can see that happening. Anywho, so moving from the Stormlands, let's talk about what happened in Pike. Fucking Theon. Motherfucking Theon. Okay, you all will remember when I made my my theory that, you know, Theon's loyalties were going to be tested and he was going to be pulled, and man, fucking Theon. See, I told you, I don't trust that motherfucker. In this week's episode, we found out that apparently Balon Greyjoy, what he wants to do, which I knew this was going to happen. I knew, based off of his comment in last week's episode, I knew he was going to oppose Robb. But I didn't think he would take this route. What he's going to do is he's not going to confront Robb at all. He is actually going to sail north and one by one make his way through the north, conquering that territory while Robb is at war. Which I will say is smart. Why? Because Robb has all of the Bannermen currently engaged against the Lannister forces. There is no one up north to protect the home front. It's vulnerable. I mean, hell, fucking Castle Black isn't even at the wall. You know, the north is completely open right now, and all those who are in the north, I mean, they don't have any army. They don't have, they have no one to defend them. So yeah, they're going to fold like an old leather wallet. That Greyjoy fleet is just going to decimate them. Didn't see that coming. Really didn't see that coming. And I gotta admit, I underestimated Lord Greyjoy. He's a clever son of a bitch. I'll give him that. He's audacious as hell too. But I like him. See, that's the thing. That's the thing too. Cause you all know, you know, I'm the king in the north. You know, I rep my house Stark. But Aelin Greyjoy, audacious, gutsy, and I like him. This puts me in a very compromising position. Much like Theon, because we saw that Theon took the time to write a letter to Robb telling him what was going to happen, and he burned the letter. I guess Theon is, you know, Team Greyjoy. So, who knows what'll happen. But this does not look well for our king in the north at all. Okay, so segueing from that, I'm going to go ahead and let's make a pit stop over in King's Landing. Bunch of stuff happened there, particularly. Okay, first before I get to Tyrion, I want to talk about what is her name? Is it? Damn. What is Tyrion's girlfriend's name? Damn. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's wait, Shay? Shay? Is it Shay? Shay the Funny Whore? Is that it? I think that's it. I think that's it. Anywho, but what happened this week? Okay. All right, fuck it. Apparently, Tyrion's girlfriend is tired of being cooped up in, you know, in his quarters all day. Which, of course, that was going to happen. You can't just bring a woman into a new town and expect her not to want to, you know, run loose. You can't keep them cooked. Can't keep them cooped up in the castle all day, Tyrion. You should know that. You know, you should know that. So anyway, but one way in which Tyrion was able to get her out of the fucking, you know, out of the room and around the castle a bit, was to have her pose as a maid for Sansa. Which Sansa? Fucking Sansa. I understand that she's, you know, she's in a tough spot right now. She's going through a rough time. But for fuck's sake, woman, please get your shit together. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have no fucking sympathy for a character like Sansa. I said it when I was on a podcast of Ice and Fire. I said it in last week's episode. I said it in the episode before that. I've been saying it for day fucking one. I have no sympathy for Sansa. I can't just sit here and be like, oh, Larry, you should feel sorry for, you know, she's a young girl and she's going through all this shit. I don't give a fuck. I can't stand weak female protagonists. Be proactive. Do something about your fucking situation. I'm sorry. I can't relate to it, okay? Keep in mind, I grew up in a house with 3 sisters. And when any one of my sisters ever got in a position like that, my daddy told them, hey, cut that shit out. We have no time for that shit, okay? You don't like the position you're in? Do something about it. Be proactive. Be productive. Do something about it, okay? I'm not cut from that cloth. I don't come from that shit. I can't relate to that type of character. Okay, you can't expect me to sit here and feel sorry for her. She shouldn't be sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. God damn it, do something about it. It's like Nike, bitch, just do it. Anywho, so now I can talk about Tyrion. Tyrion, making things happen in King's Landing. This week's episode, Tyrion decided that he needed an ally. You know, the Lannisters, they need allies. They can't have every house in the Seven Kingdoms hating them. And so Tyrion devised a plan to wed off his niece. But the manner in which he did so, he told each of the council members that he told each one of them, I'm talking about Pycelle, Littlefinger, and Varys. He told each one of them that he was going to wed off his niece to a different house. And he made sure to tell them not to tell Cersei. Why? And I knew when Tyrion did that, I knew exactly what he was trying to do. Tyrion was trying to find out who on the fucking council was in his sister's pocket. He was trying to find the fucking leak, and he was trying to plug that motherfucker up. And it turns out it was Pycelle. Old man Pycelle. It was him. And when Tyrion confronted him about it, we found out exactly to what depths Pycelle has been doing that. We found out that he had something to do with what happened to Jon Arryn. And I'm almost positive he had something to do with what happened to Ned. Anywho, he's locked up. Good job, Tyrion. Lock that motherfucker up. When you got a leak, what do you do to a leak? You plug it up. Good fucking job, Tyrion. I do think, however, that Tyrion might be getting a little bit too buddy-buddy with Varys. I wouldn't do that. I would not advise that at all. I don't trust that motherfucker. And I don't trust a lot of characters on this show. I don't trust most of the characters on this show, actually. But anywho, I wouldn't advise that, Tyrion. Watch your back. Watch your back. And then, of course, when Cersei found out about it, she flipped her fucking lid. But, hey, you gotta make allies. You know, you gotta do it. How do you do it? You wed people off. Just like Cersei was fucking wed off to Robert. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Especially when you're losing the war. Okay, so that leaves me with what happened with the new recruits to the Night's Watch. What happened on the King's Road? Well, the two gentlemen from last week's episode, they called in reinforcements. They called in backup, and yeah, they tracked down the caravan. You know, all the new recruits heading to the wall, and yeah, there was a massacre. There was a fight, and the Night's Watch did not hold up at all. The body count went up this week, and yeah, I know. After seeing the Tyrion scene, I felt good, but then after seeing the fucking what happened to the the new recruits to the Night's Watch, put me in a depressing ass mood. Yeah, this episode left a bitter taste in my mouth. Probably gonna have to cheer myself up after this. Probably go watch The Big Lebowski or something. That always makes me laugh. However, good old Arya, she was able to protect Gendry's identity, and I really don't know what to I'm not sure what to expect from this point out. I mean, they're in Lannister custody now. That's my timer. They're in Lannister custody now, and so I don't know what's going to happen to them. I take it those men are I forget where they said they were taking them, but the damn show ain't the Wall. But then again, I'm not even sure if I want Arya and Winterfell at this fucking point. Not with the Greyjoy fleet headed up there. Yeah. But anywho, so that's going to do it for my review for this week's episode. Thought it was a really good episode. There was a lot of introduction to new characters, a lot of exposition that was presented in this week's episode. And well, just for the manner of time, I won't go into detail with the preview for next week's episode. I'll just discuss that when the episode airs. But yeah, so that'll do it for me this week. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week. And as always, feel free to share your thoughts on this week's episode in the, what is it? It's the recap roundup courtesy of winteriscoming.net, which they offer both spoiler free and spoiler threads. By all means, share your thoughts there. And wrapping this video up, once again, another shout out to the crew of A Podcast of Ice and Fire for having me guest star on their podcast this past week. Feel free to check them all out at I think it's podcastoficeandfire.com. Google them. But anywho, thanks for joining me again this week. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and until next week, peace.